This is a free sample of the book Don't Give a Shit and Succeed by Cairo Copeland. The first half of this book is posted right here on YouTube, free for everyone to listen to. If you like this content and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/stoic. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/. Chapter 3. A self-sabotaging desire to drop. The pursuit of impressing others isn't worth a shit. Too many people believe that the point of life is to be superior to others. Because of such people, whole industries exist to capitalize on this belief. It's a very profitable business to be in as well, because this competition is one that never ends. Even if you do win, you still aren't satisfied. Originally, this chapter was going to focus entirely on materialism, but the root of materialism is really an urge to impress other people. Back in high school, I didn't really care about having cool shoes like Nike or Adidas. I was content with the Walmart brand shoes I had. But the other kids in high school kept making fun of me until I upgraded my footwear. I tried to put up with their insults indefinitely, but deep down, the peer pressure was beginning to bother me because one of the worst things for a kid to feel is unaccepted. I had hoped that they would find another kid to pick on or something else to make fun of. Like it was all a fad. The final nerve was struck when the girl I liked back then thought I was a loser for the shoes I wore. In my high school days, I was very ignorant about the male-female relationship and thought girls' opinions really mattered. So I caved and bought better shoes. But I didn't really want them. I only wanted the feelings associated with being approved of by the cool kids. And that's largely true of all material possessions today and countless things we waste good money on. Things like the latest iPhone, which costs you more in wasted time, Tesla, which isn't even good for the environment, expensive vacations to Europe, that's not all what it's cracked up to be, and the largest McMansion with rooms you never use but still have to pay for. Perhaps the greatest culprit to perpetuating this pissing contest is the poison of social media. Every one of my books eschews it for a reason. Every post you scroll past is carefully curated from another person's life with the subtext of saying, "Fuck you, look how much more awesome my life is compared to yours." Too much exposure to this contagious poison will have you becoming just as douchey. You know that girl that constantly posts poolside pictures of herself on Instagram with the caption, "My Monday"? The one that doesn't have a job but somehow is always on vacation? Her post is really saying, "Oh, fuck you, loser. You're at work. I don't have to be at work today because I'm like so awesome." Why expose yourself to that when all it will do is make you feel inadequate? I had once thought that with minimalism on the rise, materialism would be on the decline, but it's not. I know because the most profitable stocks I've ever owned were self-storage facility companies. In the era of one-click purchases, people have way too much shit. Further, minimalism, to most millennials, just meant living in a tiny house, which meant they needed 2 storage units instead of 1 to store all of their shit. And the only reason they got a tiny house was because it was cool. It was a trend that would get them accepted by others. So here we are again, attempting to impress others, wasting money along the way, giving a shit about something needlessly. The number one addiction is approval from other people. It only exists when you don't approve of yourself. But an even larger problem on the horizon is a crisis soon to come caused by all this keeping up with the Joneses. You think Social Security, which isn't enough to be social nor secure, is a ticking time bomb of a future disaster? Well, something far worse than that is coming. When Generation X and the millennials reach retirement, there could be a massive homelessness and starvation from the foolish decisions made by these generations. Look at their retirement savings, if they have any at all. Under 35, the average household retirement savings is $30,170. Ages 35 to 44, the average household retirement savings is $131,950. Ages 45 to 54, the average household retirement savings is $254,720. With numbers like these, they will run out of money 2 or 3 years into retirement. The sad thing is that they are perfectly capable of preventing this disaster from occurring, but they refuse to. They believe that Social Security will be a meaningful supplement, and they're in for a big surprise on that one. They think that their investments in their 401ks will keep going up, despite how overvalued they already are. They probably listen to the advice of guys like John Bogle and Burton McHale and even Warren Buffett to buy an index fund, even though Mr. Buffett doesn't himself own one. They heard and recite the same dogma of the indexing religion that index funds always outperform. So because their retirement savings is invested in one, they're getting the best return on their money that they possibly could get at the lowest cost as well. So they think. In order for this to work, the stocks in the index have to keep going up. And if that index is the S&P 500, your stocks are already grossly overvalued. Companies like Amazon, Apple, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook are selling at prices that are 200 times their gross revenues. If you bought Apple, not just shares of its stock, but the entire company, Apple, it would take you 200 years to make back what you paid to buy it. That's before interest, taxes, administrative, and operating expenses. How exactly is this going to work out for you when you just own the stock? What needs to happen is that it needs to keep going up. But how likely is it for the price to continue rising when there is so little to justify the price that it is at right now? This isn't a book on investment strategy. If you're looking for a good one, then check out The Financial Red Pill, my other book on the subject. The point is that what people think will help them stay afloat in retirement will not. But the main thing that will help them not only survive, but would even help them do so well that they could retire early is something we used to do so easily. Do without. Because people have become so undisciplined with their saving and spending, they will likely end up on the streets a few years after they stop working or never stop working at all. They feel they absolutely must have the sexiest smartphone. They've got to take the family on a fancy Hawaii vacation. They need a brand new Tesla every 2 years. And they can't live without a McMansion that's bigger than their brother-in-law's. And what's really driving all these asinine purchases isn't a genuine desire to have these things. Like stated earlier, Tesla cars aren't even good for the environment. What compels people to piss away money on these things is to keep up with others and impress others. They see what other people have on their Facebook feeds and think to themselves, I should have that too, instead of saving their money for their futures. They justify to themselves, I make money to provide things for myself that make me happy. Why can't I have that happiness now? Why must I delay that happiness until retirement or some other future date? Because of the pain-pleasure principle. Any pleasure you have now will have to be paid for by pain later. Likewise, any pain accepted now will be compensated by pleasure in the future. But something magical happens to that future pleasure or pain. The more it's delayed, the greater it becomes. Specifically with money, the longer it's saved, the more it compounds. And compounded growth is what turns savers into millionaires. Similarly, deferred pain also compounds and becomes far more threatening and disrupting than it would have been if it had been taken earlier. Like ripping a Band-Aid off right away instead of trying to slowly peel it off. We've all experienced this one in high school as well. When you put off studying for a test longer, it is more agonizing when you finally do study, with a shorter window of time to develop retention between then and the actual test. The test will be more painful as well. There is no worse time to be poor than in old age. I remember being poor when I was 18 and could easily handle that again. When I couldn't afford to put gas in my car and drive out to the beach, that was nothing compared to not being able to afford to see a dentist when I had immense toothaches. Imagine how much worse it would be to be poor when you're old and your health is deteriorating. When even continence is failing to function properly. You'll be damn glad you saved money then. Acquiring possessions and doing things to impress others leads only to having pleasure now to be paid with compounding pain later. Just as bad as the greater pain coming in the future, though, is the pitifully small and fleeting satisfaction that you experience right now. Really, when you seek to impress someone else, it's often someone you don't even like. And there's also a good chance they don't even like you either. So what good really comes of it? Giving this other person you hope to one-up the figurative middle finger by doing or having something better than them gives you a high that flees faster than the dopamine of a cigarette, a snickerdoodle cookie, or a 5-second orgasm. You come, you eat the cookie, you smoke the butt, then you wake up the next morning and go to fucking work. The other person you're trying to impress never actually says, "You know what? Wow, you really did it this time. I've got to say, I didn't think you could do it, but you did. You've impressed me. I'm so in awe of you. I wish I could be as cool as I think you are right now, but I have no choice other than to admit inferiority to you in this moment." Even if they did that, for how long would that make you happy? Probably 5 seconds. But consider the hours of effort and hundreds of dollars spent. Is that even a proportionate return on investment? Probably not. What about posting a picture of you doing or being something impressive on Facebook? At best, you'll get a few likes from it, maybe even a few comments. But you have to realize, unless you're a chick showing off your ass, people aren't going to worship you just for existing the way that simps worship e-thoughts online. And any recognition you get from others on social media is extremely shallow because the nature of social media relationships is shallow. My last day of using Facebook, I went through my friends list, and as I did, I could hear so many of them say the following: "I just wanted to let you know, if you're feeling down and need someone, I'll always be here for you." Only on Facebook, though. Don't call me or come to my house with that shit. If you posted a status update that was a live video stream of you dying on the sidewalk, do you really think any one of your friends that know you only through Facebook would stop scrolling and lift a finger to help you? Honestly, you're better off without social media all around. In my experience anyway, nothing good comes from it. I deleted my accounts after becoming thoroughly annoyed with seeing people post stuff about white privilege and male privilege. I wonder where those privileges were for me when I had to sleep in a storage unit for 6 months. Did my white skin and Y chromosomes give me any advantage in life? Well, there is one I can think of. Being a heterosexual white male makes you a punching bag on Facebook. And this is not me complaining, "Oh, poor me, I have it so hard." But scrolling through the feed, I read that apparently I'm a racist, a sexist, privileged oppressor, undeserving of all I've earned, and I want to keep women, blacks, and gays and trans people down in the shitter of squalor. Not being able to take the constant barrage of bullshit thrown at me, I gave up Facebook. I deleted the app and replaced it with Kindle. From then on, I spent my time on the toilet reading everything from Benjamin Graham to Cal Newport. As a result, I became more knowledgeable and effective at life. Thus, I moved up in the world faster. My career took off. Investments skyrocketed, and my business became a roaring success. So thank you to everyone on Facebook who regularly shits on straight white males. I couldn't have done it without you. I couldn't have become this amazing success without your hate. But what I really got from leaving social media was freedom. I promote the idea of pursuing fuck you money, and most people claim to want it. But it's not really the money they want. What they really want is the shit they can buy with it. And it isn't really the shit they want, but what the shit can do for them. Impress others. But money gives you something that no possession nor other person's approval can. Freedom. Just like the showing off in high school. What good does it really do for you? What benefit did that ever provide when you had the same shoes as the cool kids? Did it ever get you in with the cool kids? No. They probably ended up hating you more, because they never really wanted you to be one of them, nor did they ever care about the shoes. They just wanted to pick on you for not having something so they could feel better about themselves. In seeing someone else have less or supposedly be lesser, they felt better. It was also so validating for them to see you go out of your way to acquire something you didn't want before to win their approval. But just like how a hot girl loathes a simp that tries to impress her, these cool kids end up hating you more than they did before you cared about impressing them. And so too did your lesser friends that you left behind while embarking on your quest to become a cool kid. Stop giving a shit about impressing other people. It only costs you, and it doesn't even work. It has the same effect as trying to impress a woman. All it does is it tells her that you're a thirsty, desperate, and pathetic simp. People can sense when you're trying too hard to appear better than those whom you hold yourself in comparison to. There's a reason why no one likes a one-upper. The Taoist belief is that everything is a temporary loan. We can't take it with us, but somehow allow it to stress us out while we have it. The more things you own, the more things you must take care of and maintain. You think the guy with a garage full of hot cars is happy? He's not. He's constantly running around keeping up with them and getting maintenance done on them. He may have once loved cars, but has now grown to hate them because cars and possessions really can be just as needy as people. But the less you own, the less you have to worry about losing. The guy that has a garage full of cars has to insure them, lock them up, or put an anti-theft device on them and maintain them. All these things will chip away at his time, energy, attention, and money. The sad thing is that he probably only got them to impress someone or prove something to someone. The desire to prove something to others requires that these others actually care, and they don't, except when they can bring about your downfall. And that is the story of Dan Bilzerian, who spent his entire social media life trying to impress others. And really no one was impressed by him. But when they found out that he was lying and putting on a front and committing fraud, then people suddenly started to care. They were more invested in his downfall than they ever were in his ascension, especially since it was all a fraud. By trying to impress others, all that you really do is make yourself a target to others, especially in this generation of easily offended, super triggered, pathetic fools that participate in manufactured, organized outrage and cancel culture. Thank you for listening to this free sample of the book Don't Give a Shit and Succeed by Cairo Copeland. If you enjoyed it and want to hear or read the rest, or want to listen to it free of ads, visit reinventideal.com/stoic. The book is available on Kindle, paperback, and Audible at reinventideal.com/stoic.